Welcome back to Let's Play World of Warcraft. This is the Heroic Halls of Lightning edition. This is your host Particle Man, and this is part 3. We have one boss left, and we're just clearing the trash before him, which is quite a bit actually. I just recorded this one time, and an important thing you want to remember when you're recording is if you have a button that turns off your mic, to keep that out of harm's way, because I just found out after 15 seconds of recording that I didn't actually record anything but the first 15 seconds. So here I am doing this again. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off with the two vanguards there. You didn't notice during that fight, but the vanguards, they do a charge and then a poison spear throw. And the poison spear is really deadly because I think it does like 1500 damage a second. It's pretty powerful. And the druid wasn't cleansing the poisons, which he should be doing because they have the easiest, you can cleanse poison now in tree form. So, he should be able to do that pretty easily, and he wasn't. He almost died because he had two of them on him, and so I went ahead and cleansed both. And that's kind of the important thing. If you're a tank, it shouldn't have to be your job to cleanse poison when you have a druid healer. But, if you see your healer going down, don't just be like, well, he'll get it. I just always try to keep an eye on my group and any debuffs they might have. I know you can't all the time, but as a good tank, if you have the ability of taking something off, you might as well go ahead and do it. And that includes taking stuff off yourself. It helps everybody else out. But in a perfect world, the healer should be doing that. So we have another Rune Shaper group. I'm pretty sure I'd go ahead and give them a stun at 80%, just because once they get down to the final 20, everybody starts using their executing abilities, stuff like that. So usually once they're down to 20, you don't have to worry about them anymore. They'll die quick enough. I think it was right after this fight, me and the healer kind of getting an argument about this getting rid of the poisons, because now the mage just died again because he got charged, but he got charged right after he had poison on him, and the druid never took it off of him. So I was telling him, I'm like, hey man, you gotta, get the poison off these guys. And he was like, what are you talking about? That's bullshit. And I said, well, you haven't been doing it. And so I started cycling through, recount, and found out that there had been 8, I guess they're called dispels. Yeah. There had been 8 dispels, and they're all for me. And so I posted it to him. I was like, well, this is what I see. And then eventually, as soon as I showed him that, he was like, oh, okay. He was like, I had the wrong button. I was pressing the wrong button on decursive, which is, I don't know. I don't use mods like that. I'm not too sure what that one does. I guess it just highlights people that it'll decurse whoever's got a curse on them, just in random order. And that's pretty cool. I've never used it before. Not that I shouldn't, because it sounds like it'd be pretty cool, but I don't. In this fight, he's over there trying to figure it out, and I had to use Lay on Hands just now. So we got a hard boss fight coming up, and I had to use Lay on Hands, so that's pretty lame. If you get an argument in an instance and you're the healer, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and if your tank keeps moving, you just got to keep rolling with them. You don't want to cause a wipe just because you were trying to prove yourself right. And this one I posted in the group to say, hey, there's been 8, dispels, and they were all me. So he was like, oh, okay, that's when he figured it out. And then, look, he almost gets killed. If I would have gone on, we would have wiped, because here come 2 patrols coming around. We were okay. We were all out of aggro range, except for the healer that was trying to look stuff up or fix his problem or whatever. I don't know. Just be aware, whether you're a healer, DPS, whatever. If your tank's moving on, just worry about that crap later. I know I was kind of instigating a little bit by posting it and stuff like that, but at the same time, you don't want the group to wipe because of that. So just I was still doing my job. I feel like he should have been doing his too. So, anyway, we got through it, and he was okay with it afterwards. I was just like, don't sit there and argue with me when I'm telling you what was happening. So he got it figured out, and I think he's okay now. Because he's done a pretty good job healing. He hasn't been AFK and everything else, so. Alright, well, what we got here is we're killing this guy. We got 2 more of these big dudes right by the globe. I would say go ahead and kill them both. Some people try to skip one, but the group at this point still hadn't determined whether we're going to run out of the AOE or not. So you definitely want to just go ahead and kill both. Because if you're going to run out of the AOE, or if someone just randomly does when they're not supposed to, you don't want to get another ad. Because you'll wipe so easy on this boss, even without ads, You just want to maximize your chance of winning in one shot. Because this is a long run back. I'd say it's probably about an 8-minute run back to where you're at. So definitely want to be mindful of that. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy, and he actually lose aggro from him for a second, because my shield, if you look, well, no, my shield wasn't on cooldown, I just haven't thrown it yet. Whoops, yeah, so the mage almost gets aggro and dies. Well, he does get aggro, and he almost dies. But he was smart, he got an ice block, so. And that's another thing, if you're a mage, if you go ice block, make sure that you give the tank a second, because if you unclick your ice block, and I haven't done anything yet to get aggro, all that does is kind of suspend your aggro for a second, so make sure I get aggro from whatever it is before you break out of that. So our group's decided that we're going to go ahead and just stay in since we have a druid healer and they can heal a lot of people at once. So normally you would run out when he starts his AoE. You have about 4 seconds to run out before it blows up and does a ton of damage. So keep in mind, if you're doing it that way, that's what you're going to have to do. Everybody has to run together, and usually you just run straight back from the boss and do that. So we're going to run in here, and we're just going to try to down them without running out. And what everybody needs to do is everybody make sure they're stacked on the tank, because see that little debuff, the little arcane-looking debuff? That is going to be the damage. It says something about the farther you are from Loken, the more damage you take. So everybody wants to be close to Loken, and just preferably on top of the tank. There's no hunters, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay, here's the first AoE. It takes everybody down to like 20-30%, except for me, but you can see how powerful that is. So you have a healer that's really good at group healing if you're going to try this strategy. And now the mage right now is blowing him up with like 5k DPS, which is awesome. And he did a really good job. He's arcane, so he really took advantage. This next one, boom, almost kills everybody. Right before that second one, I used my 50% damage reduction. And you'll want to do that for the second one as a tank, because the first one you'll be able to recover from and the rest of the party will. The second one, maybe not. So it's always better to wait till the second AoE, and sometimes there could be a third. So we finished up. I didn't win the Frozen Orb, which kind of sucks, but oh well. I had a decent good time. But so anyway, we'll be running a lot of these when the Emblems of Triumph come out. So join us back for that, and we'll also be running the new 5-man if you need help on that. We'll be running a tutorial. So thanks for watching, and we hope to see you then.